I did that as a favor. No more favor. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And welcome to the West Bank Cafe Downstairs Theater Bar. Yeah! You know, there are billions and billions and clusters of stars in all the cosmos, but they have come together tonight for a fortuitous association. As we all join and gather in to see Rusty and Lou in School's Out. Yes, we give our shows a title, even though it's the same old shit we do every week. But we figured we fooled enough in you into coughing up $7, and here you are. You know, we close tomorrow night our 6th season of doing theater down here. 6 seasons! You know, Louis and I have been climbing up the front half of the bell-shaped curve all of our lives. And we're going to reach the top and just slide down into oblivion. But tomorrow night, 3 very wonderful shows here. If you get a chance and you're stuck in town tonight, and what the hell, it's raining out in the Hamptons too. Lots of Pictionary tonight, people, let me tell you. If you're here tomorrow night, please come and see a show called Doc by Edward Louis Gould, directed by our own Rand Forster, our artistic director. It's at 8:30 tomorrow night. Please come and see it. It's a very wonderful performance art piece about the life of Marcel Duchamp. And then at 10:30, George Gerdes, a folk guitar player, wonderful songwriter, wonderful eccentric, eclectic songwriter, at 10:30 with a band. And then at midnight, we do our final free show of the year, the Saturday Midnight Free Show. And 3 guys, 3 friends of mine, a drummer, a guitar player, and a bass player, are going to just set up and we're going to jam. Louis will be doing comedy. It's going to be a party. We're going to go until Davy and Goliath starts early Sunday morning. So please, if you happen to be in town, tomorrow is going to be well, as Don Cornelius says on Soul Train, you can bet your last money it'll be a stone gas, honey. Please put your name on our mailing list and you'll receive our fall schedule in the mail. We close for a month after tomorrow. The restaurant upstairs will remain open. But Rowan Joseph, our managing director, is putting together our schedule, and we'll be back with one-act plays and music and comedy in the fall. Yeah. Yeah. That's what you call a segue. Louis Black left Ireland in 1842. Louis left 'cause everyone knew that Louis McBlack was a Jew. So he wandered away and sailed night and day to find a place where he could stay. He kvetched and kvetched and he retched till he finally found the West Bank Cafe. So give Lou a hand and please understand, he's a yid bob who lost his way. But he toils and he boils and he oils and he soils the floor of the West Bank. Ladies and gentlemen, Louis Black! Oils and soil. Rusty Magee. So I had lunch with my agent yesterday, and and I was sitting here and I realized it's like the end of the year and we're discussing what it's going to be like to be in school next year. And I realized all an agent is a glorified guidance counselor who asks for 10%. And I'm sitting in the middle of the meeting. It was over lunch, which was good, because she was buying. If any of you have an agent that you're buying lunch for, get the fuck out, okay? It's that simple. It's a tip-off. And it dawned on me that I turned to her at one point and I smiled and I said, God, you know, I'm really glad you're taking an interest in my career because I've lost all interest. I really have. I don't care. I just do this now. The way someone would pick apples or might make a nice chair if I was a shaker. In the tube, I can't even read anymore. Okay, that's where I'm at. Just tell me. Show me some pictures. What was the big dog like? What did the assailant look like? Great. Let's have some ads. Oh, good. You know, fucking ads now on the news. These fucking, who's watching the 6 o'clock news? It's like totally different. People who wear Depends and shit. Wow. Jesus Christ. Poor June Allison. Really? What an ad to do. Wow, I'm peeing in my pants? Jesus Christ. So I woke up about 9 because I'm not sleeping anymore. You know, if I hear any yelling or anything, I wake up and say, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And there was, they fucking had an anti-nuke rally in front of Gracie Mansion. And I said, have we lost our grip entirely? What the fuck does that have to do with it? Koch, I mean, you know, there's a lot of things to yell at Koch about, but nukes, no. It's the last thing, you know, on a list of about 5 million. Starting with handing Donald Trump $6 million back in taxes. Okay, start there and then work your way back. Fucking A. And I was saying, what are they... They're protesting whether we're going to have nuclear warships in our harbor. I couldn't give a fuck. What a thing to panic over in Manhattan, boy. That is the least of the... Oh, boy. Son of a bitch in the subway sitting across from me getting ready to jack off into my face. I'm not really giving a shit about a nuclear weapon. Christ on a fucking crutch. Bring them in. Bring the fuckers in. Really, at least then, boom, it's gone. It's over. It isn't this kind of corrosive, slow death. Serious. I'm looking for an apartment. So I went back. I live in the East Village, so I thought, well, I'll see what the... Because now I get perverted when I do this. Because, oh, yeah, let's see what this looks like. Because I get psychotic on a certain level because it's like, it becomes fascinating to see what people will say to you with a straight face and say, yes, here it is. Like, only 1900. And see, we're so conditioned, I didn't even have to give you an image. All I had to say was 1900. But you all knew what I meant. See, maybe a bathroom down the hall. With 2 people who live there, but it's nice. They're very nice people. You'll get to know them. You'll like them. They have a nice library. I went down to the East Village, and now they're calling the East Village across from, you know, the East Village has always been to me where I live, which is First and A. You go through Alphabet City, and then if you cross Houston Street, that's the Lower East Side. That's where my family is initially from. So that
That's where my career is at. I'm going back now to total roots. This is Roots 5. And we go there, and I'm looking around, and I'm saying, they're taking me down, and the woman is saying it's a very nice apartment, and it happened to be a very, very nice apartment. It's $1,200 for a 2-bedroom apartment, not bad, with a corner lot that is totally empty, but filled with like tires from cars that I've never imagined. You know, like just there are things out there. You know, when there's like garbage in New York City, you're just afraid to look. You go, oh man, what is that? Looks like a medical supply, but it's larger. And then there was a building next to it that was boarded up, which is always a kind of a treat. And then it was like crack delivered. You know, there were people just delivering crack at will. And it's 1,200 night. So I'm walking back to my apartment, just, you know, so I can't this is worse than where I'm living. At least where I'm living, you know, there's the big churches are around there, so at least, you know, I'm safe. You know. No, I'm serious. It's kind of nice. Where I'm living, it's where the people talk on the street. It's like Poland 1942. It is. And so I'm walking back, and they built a fucking apartment on Houston Street in the corner of Avenue A. If you're ever down there, catch this one. It's called Red Square. We've come a long way, haven't we? It's so hip to be comic, man. Red fucking Square. And an ad, a little ad on the thing. They have this thing that you open up. It's like origami that they hand you, that, you know, that has all of the plans in it. You know, it takes a week, and there are quotes on it. And this is the Red Square. More New York than New York. What could that possibly be? 3 guys whacking off in the hallway instead of 1. You've got a trio. So I go in there. Now this is the God's honest truth, and nobody sees the sense of humor of this. You go in there. Everybody who's coming in that doesn't speak English, they're all European and wearing clothing that you get in those shops on Columbus Avenue, and they only sell 1. No, that's it. That's all we got left. That's it. That's it. And it doesn't matter what size it is. It looks good on them to be wearing this shit to the floor. And I turn to the woman, and she says, "Oh, it's very nice to meet you, Mr. Black. My name's Natasha." And I'm immediately like howling in her face. You're Natasha, yeah, right. I'm Louis Noir. And I suppose these guys managed the Beatles. Let me show you one of our lovely apartments. And they take me down and they show me a 2-bedroom apartment, right? It's got a terrace, it's got a nice can, you know, it's got like a microwave oven, a dish, well, that fucking shit now. Now dig this. This is a block and a half away from Crack Central. $2,125 a month in rent. Now I'm on the floor. I said, you got a fucking lot of gold. You're fabulous. I said, where'd you go to school? You could stand here and say that with a straight face. And she's looking at me like I'm crazy. Well, we have a number of people who are very, very interested. I said, I want to meet them. I want to know what they do for a living, that they can just take $24,000 and just go, I'm flushing it. Not only that, I just had to ask. You've got to ask. Now I'm in. Now I'm like the big bass. Okay, what other things? No fucking, there's not a health club there. There's not a pool. There's no, you know, they're advertised, 90% of their advertising is it's wonderful to live in the East Village, to be able to take advantage of all of this, and yet live in a fine apartment. You fucks. So I'm bitter now, and I said, what about heat? What do we do for heat? Does that come up? That you can control the heat in your room. I said, well, that's fucking great. And she said, and it would only be, for an apartment like that, $125 a month. You pay for the fucking heat? Give me one of those things you just bang on the fuck. $22.50 a month, and he's worried about nuclear weapons in the harbor. Blow the buildings up, let's start over. Give me a shot! Let's go back to Tent City. Unbelievable. And 67% of the American people believe George Bush is doing a good job. That actually came out this week, too. That was another one where I went, oh. That's where I just started twitching. I have no response to that except for the fact that it means that 67% of the American people are deaf, dumb, and blind. Here's what job? What is he doing? He said we're going to go to Mars. He said we're going to Mars. He didn't say how, and he didn't say why. We're going there. I don't know, it don't seem like a good idea. Let's go. Where are we going to go? One of those rubber band things we're going to wind it up, and then we'll go in, we'll all get on a big plane. You go, what is that? And then he hands it over to who's in charge? Dan Quayle. I'm serious. Get the monkey from 2001 who throws that bone up. Smart. Dan Quayle, that'll be great, because I figure in 2 months he'll be in front of the space subcommittee with a Mars bar going, we're there, we're there. Here's a quote from Bush, just to give you an idea of where he's been coming from. This is after his first 100 days when he did nothing at all except have some puppies. He said, Martin came in, he's referring to Martin Van Buren. Okay? Martin came in, he was not radically trying to change things, but then that's about where the parallel ends. Because I don't know what he did in his first 100 days. That's it. He's talking about how his first 100 days in office have been about the same as Martin Van Buren's. I don't know what he did in his first 100 days. Well, why would you look it up? What kind of a statement is that? Why would you even respond? And why would you put your name in the same breath as Martin Van Buren? And then this is, if you're wondering what's going on in the Middle East, okay? Middle East, simple. Here was what George Bush said 75 days in office. This was the quote. The time is right for some kind of action, but now we've got to assess here where we're going to go. What next step we take? We take whatever the next step is. Yeah? Well, obviously his foot's still in the air. He did a great job in China. He responded to them. He still hasn't responded. I have friends who smoke dope who responded faster than the China crisis. Smoking 24 hours a day. Something's fucked up there. I don't know what it is, but they don't seem to be serving food anymore, and look at this. At least there was a response. And then the only thing he did, the fastest he responded, was the minimum wage in this country was, it should be $4.55 an hour. Well, that was what they voted. The Congress voted. They wanted it to be $4.55 an hour. That's in 1991, I guess, when in Red Square the rent there will be $185, down from $21.25 down to $185, no problem, and we'll give you furniture. And $4.55 an hour, and the minimum wage now is $3.35 an hour. It's been that way for 8 years, since 1981. To give you an idea of what that is about, quite simply, is in 1966 when I worked for the post office, which is, I had a midnight shift job there, so I get a little extra money. I was making $2.75 an hour in 1966. It's $3.35 fucking an hour now, minimum wage, which means you can live in New York City, you gotta go now. That's it. That's as much time as you have, about 8 seconds, I think. And then you better be on a fucking bus and looking for somewhere to get to, because you fucking don't have a prayer. And they were all worried about this. He said it was inflationary. To go an extra $1.20. You know, what they wanted to take to was $4.35, the Republicans. The liberal Democrats took it to $4.55. The extra 20 cents an hour really upset George Bush and the Republicans because they said it was inflationary. So $1.60 a day per person. It boils down to about, well, let's say about $8 a week. Which I guess meant that what they're panicked about is all the kids at Wendy's and Roy Rogers and Beefsteak Charlie's and McDonald's and Burger King would get together and form a consortium and have a leveraged buyout. And really just jack the price of everything up. That would be what would do it. But instead, they, you know, what they do is, that's ridiculous, is to do that, but Pepsi can pay that bitch, Madonna, $10 million to do a fucking ad? Am I crazy? I mean, what the fuck was that about? So that we could see her again? I don't see her enough? All they do is really not even pay her anything. Just say, Madonna said, drink fucking Pepsi. That's it. I need to see a video with her. That video scared me. That last video, that's it. That, like a virgin prayer, fuck you. Get out of here. Really spooky. I'm Jewish and it made me nervous. It's the kind of thing I turn the I go, oh man, that God's going to be pissed when he sees this. Bitch has got stigmata. I thought you had to earn that. Give her $10 million, then they took it off the air. I'm going, what are they paying her fucking $10 million for? You're going to do it, get 2 million people to, that you pick at random, send them a check for $50. Seriously, if I get a check for Pepsi for $50, I'd drink that shit. And it's like, what else are you going to do when you go in? When you come into the West Bank, you go, well, I'd really like a Pepsi. Fuck you. Give me the syrup, just whatever it is, and we'll do it. Coke and Pepsi, I gotta get that. What a neurotic fucking battle they're having. And then I gotta watch people I don't want to see. George Michael with it, but get out of my fucking face. I don't give a shit if Michael Fox drinks, but I don't care what the fuck they drink. Is it theirs and I just give it to me? Fuck it. So meanwhile, Quayle, I wanted to read something this evening because I did all this touring for a while, and it was one of these quotes that I couldn't read to a Midwestern audience. No, only because you can only give them so much. I'm serious. I mean, I can understand. No, I mean, you don't talk about abortion out there, and you don't mention LA North. You don't want to like have a riot, okay? Because you don't know. It's the kind of thing that might tip them. Formerly called cow tipping, now people tipping. I don't want to upset them. And you're taking them through enough shit as it is. I'm up there, raving like a mad dog, flumming and foaming. I don't want to go, oh, and what about abortion? People in the front row weeping and taking out crosses and going, Jew, back, back. So I didn't want to drag him through this, mainly because it's an amazing quote, and it's one of those things that out there, I mean, irony out there and cynicism are not things that, like, go over. They kind of sit there and, look at each other like, like a wind passed. They don't, I know something happened, but what was that? No, they just don't get it. They're very straightforward, It's like they drive the highway in Michigan, they're not looking either side, they're going to get there. You don't want to, like, have to, oh, well, that was a thought. And I don't blame them. It's absolutely true. So, I mean, I gave him only enough, but this was unbelievable. At the beginning of the year, when Quayle, early on in the campaign, he fucking said this is before they gave him the fucking job. Bobby Knight told me this. He's talking about defense. Bobby Knight being the coach, the Indiana basketball. So he told me this, there's nothing that a good defense cannot beat a better offense. See what it did to you? Literally, Bobby Knight told me this, there's nothing that a good defense cannot beat a better offense. In other words, a good offense wins. See what that does? It's like I took a spoon, put it inside your brain, and threw some part away. Absolutely no way to make any sense out of that fucking thing. Actually, the line, I think, is a good defense always beats a good offense. So what he said was totally wrong anyway, and then he went back to say it, to talk about offense. And what he meant to talk about was defense. So that was the start. Then he launched into this. And this is when they finally started, bringing up the people around him, so that there was somebody with him at all times, and she started wearing the dog dish in case he had to eat. Discussing his theory of nuclear deterrence, Mr. Quayle said, dig this. Now this you're going to have to follow, and if you get lost in the middle of it, don't worry. It'll be like a Midsummer Night's Dream. Right now we have a theory of mutually assured destruction that supposedly provides for peace and stability in its work. But that doesn't mean that we can't build upon a concept of mutually assured destruction where both sides are vulnerable to another attack. Why wouldn't an enhanced deterrent, a more stable peace, a better prospect to denying the ones who enter conflict in the first place to have a reduction of offensive systems and an introduction to defensive capability? That's the end of that sentence. Where did he go? go. I mean, he was right there for a while. You could follow it. Okay, mutually assured destruction. Yeah, we both are going to have weapons. I understand that. And then, okay, so we both have the same amount of crap. All right, that's cool. Why wouldn't an enhanced deterrent, a more stable peace, a better prospect of denying the ones who enter conflict in the first place to have a reduction of offensive weapons and an introduction to defensive capability? I believe that is the route this country will eventually go. Which is pretty close, because we've got that stealth bomber, which seems to fit into that category of a lot of commas and making no fucking sense. The stealth bomber is interesting. They did that recently. They had that thing, they taxied it down, and it didn't, first off, it just went on the ground. They had to take it back. And then they did it again, and all it got up to was 10,000 feet, which would be great if we were just fighting Cessnas. But I had I actually didn't bring it, but I'm going to try to do it anyway, because that's the kind of, that's how sick I am at this point. I've been working on a thing, one of the many projects, I do thousands of these projects, people come to me with projects, and then I do them, and I don't get paid for them, but I kind of enjoy them. And one is, was a great idea, which is a fictional biography of Dan Quayle. And what I believe is it's not a fictional biography of Dan Quayle. The biography of Dan Quayle that we have is fictional. It is very, very similar, the same way in which the idea of the Kennedy assassination, that they came up with the Oswald thing, you know, and that kind of perfect explanation. Sure, he stood up there and just fired those bullets, and yes, he was working alone. Sure, great. That explanation to me is similar to the fact that Dan Quayle was born of, you know, of a normal parentage. I think that the biography is bullshit. I think it's a very simple thing to trace back. I think that what occurred with Dan Quayle is quite easy to follow. I've been able to track it down. He was born in Indiana in 1948. That is all real. And actually, he was born of two parents who were so dyslexic that they couldn't stay in the same house together. They just drove each other nuts. They were so gone. And actually, he was working with the Army at the time. He was gone. This was after the war. And she became pregnant and was in the hospital that night bearing Dan. And he drove there to get to her. And actually, what had occurred with him was a few weeks back, and this is actually true at that time, in 1948, they began testing LSD on people. And what they were testing on him was to see how it would affect dyslexia. And what it did to his father was it made him dyslexic in all dimensions. So as a result, while driving home he was very panicked and he wanted to be by his wife's bedside, he drove on the wrong side of the road, killed himself. I love that joke, and you're not getting this. I don't even care. I'm going to launch through it. I don't give a shit. The mother couldn't keep him, obviously being broke and poor, and so what she did was she left him, actually at the door of the largest country club in Indiana. It's absolutely true. And it was there that he was picked up and raised by caddies. For 3 years. Who they actually taught him, there's something that stayed with him for the rest of his life, which was the concept of the mulligan in golf. Which is when you hit a ball, and if you don't like the way that ball went, you can hit another ball. If you don't like that one, you hit another one. It's called the mulligan. And basically that is what he lives by. If you do it wrong the first time, you can do it again and again and again, including law school. And so he was actually brought, what occurred was by the time he was 3, he was getting a little large, and the reason he got the name, actually they just called him Dan, and the reason they gave him the name Quayle was they would take him to hunt. And the one propensity that he really had was he was a tremendous bird dog. At the age of 2, he was able to bring back quail in his mouth all the time without any trouble at all, eating some of the other dogs. And so they named Dan Quayle. And so what happened was the guy who ran the country club decided that what they would do would be they would have a golf tournament and give Dan away as the prize. So many of the rich and famous gathered, and actually the head of the country club won and took Dan home, and it was considered, he was thought to be his wife was pissed because she thought it was like an illegitimate child. So what she did was put him in a trophy case where he stayed until he was 9, which really explains the entire slow learning process. If you don't buy that theory of his being brought up, my feeling is he's the Antichrist. Absolutely. Because when he spoke at Actually, he spoke at West Point, and even at that military institution, they booed and hissed him, which shows that even the highest members of the military-industrial complex know the Antichrist when they see him. And he's not the real Antichrist, because the real Antichrist actually knows something. He's the Antichrist of the slow learner. It's been sent actually thousands of years before the Antichrist will come to just begin to get some of those around. The slowest of the learners, to get them to pay attention. The other idea I had from him, because I've got hundreds of theories on why the fuck could he possibly be the way, how could he come up with a sentence like that? I mean, any theory you've got almost would work. The one that I liked especially is the Harpo theory, which is actually, it's Harpo Marx's channeling through him. And Harpo is so bitter about being the silent brother that he's getting back at all of us this way. And the way that you can prove it is that Dan Quayle has never taken a lesson on the harp. But if you sat him down in front of him, he would play it perfectly. It could be Elvis, for all I know. It's astonishing that this man is the vice president. What else is... I'm asking you. Well, that one I don't like. Oh, God, that was terrible. The word process. You know what he once said? To just give you an idea, I mean, the bottom line of this man is, asked about what the vice president, whether he could deal with it or not, he said that he missed the. He said the toughest thing for him about being vice president was he missed the quality time that he spent with his family at McDonald's. Yes. Don't even go no. And don't even say leave him alone, because we have to remember every step of the way. Okay? You don't leave him alone, because it will happen again. People have lived under Ed Koch in this city for 12 years, and fucking people I know are still going to vote for him again. Okay? I would rather vote for a Doberman. Just find a Doberman, I will elect him. I would rather have a Doberman be mayor, so that when my parents come and say, how could you live like this? I would say, well, our mayor's a Doberman. Small brain facing. So don't say you don't just leave him alone. No, you don't leave him alone. You go at him, and you you chop him up, and you keep chopping and chopping and chopping. So by the time the 4 years are done, he's dust. This is so offensive to me on a level that I cannot even imagine, which is why I'm taking a vacation. It's a fucking Ed Koch. The fact that Ed Koch is doing that well in the polls, I find that astonishing. If you know people who are going to vote for him, get out there when they leave their apartments, sit on them. Okay? Fucking grab them, throw them down to the ground. Stop them. And slap them. If you're at a party with somebody who says they're going to vote for Koch, slap them. Don't even say why. You have every right to. And if they ask why, just say, come see Lou's apartment. Here's why you can't vote for Ed again. Personally, what I would do is I would personally prefer having Ed Koch just lay on top of me for 4 years. I'm serious. I would lay under his heaving, sighing body for 4 years before I would have him be mayor again. Okay? And I would do that because that's how much I love this city. This is how fucked up it's getting. Talk about how does this fuck your politics up? Champions of the endangered sea turtle are protesting the June 25th lesbian and gay pride march's plan to release 7,000 balloons. Okay, so you got people who worried about the sea turtles, and you've got lesbian and gays. That's like, in a million years, only in this country could those two cross. All those guys, all those hundreds of kids who once owned those little things and in the plastic thing with the little plastic palm tree, who now love endangered sea turtles. And okay, so they're going to launch these 7,000 balloons, each bearing the name of a person who died of AIDS. Apparently, Turtles thinks the balloons are jellyfish. I'm showing you where they are on the pole. there's where you can really understand the Darwin theory of evolution. It pretty much simplifies it for you. And chomping on even a dime-sized balloon, latex scrap can kill a giant sea turtle. Thousands of sea turtles are now heading to the summer feeding grounds on the Jersey Long Island coast where these are going to be launched. And it's one of these moral dilemmas, says the march coordinator, unable to get a refund on the balloons. So he's going to send them up anyway. Oh man, that's phenomenal. That is just perfect. Football season is coming. That's a favorite time of the year for me. I know that a lot of you poo-poo the sport. I don't give a fuck. I'm not allowed to stand, you know, when Ed Koch passes and scream at the top of my lungs, "You cocksucking motherfucking dickhead from hell," without somebody like looking at me askance. But I can watch football in the privacy of my home and scream that aloud. I can go to a stadium and watch people just bash each other in the name of whatever. Okay, there's absolutely nothing to it except that it works for me. It's a place where I can go and shriek and like a banshee, and nobody looks at me. I get rid of a lot of shit. I can just yell, "My landlord eats shit!" And nobody looks. Nobody like turns around and says, "What the fuck are you doing?" That's why I love football. I'm allowed to make whoever blew the play is my senator. Whoever I'm playing against is my president. But this was the greatest story I've ever read about football. And this was about 2 years ago. This happened in Pittsburgh. A berserk football fan drove in a station wagon into Three Rivers Stadium and made scattered floor workers who were working there at the time and knocked over 80 gallons of nacho cheese, which I don't know if you realize now comes in a truck. Something to think about when you're at the ballpark. There's somebody, I wanted to be a chef by making nacho cheese. I like to work with trucks. And I like to cook. Nacho cheese. Police found the driver. He said they found him kicking imaginary field goals on the AstroTurf field when they arrived. See, that makes perfect sense to me. Well, if I broke into Shea Stadium or Giant Stadium, that's what I'd be doing. I'd be making them, too. He did it because he said he hated, this is the former Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback, Mark Malone. And that's why he ran in there, and that's why he ran amok. He said he was tired of Malone's passing. Absolutely right, he had every right to go and do that. The only thing he kept repeating is he said, "I don't like Mark Malone." He didn't hurt anybody, he just made a statement. He knocked over the cheese truck and kicked field goals. He said that the station wagon covered with cheese left the stadium through another gate. Then re-entered, then he did something I've always wanted to do. You ever been to Shea Stadium, you got those ramps? I've always wanted to take a car up them. That's exactly what he did. He went racing up and down them for about 20 minutes. That to me makes perfect sense. I'm going to leave you with one other thing. This is my personal favorite about the more that this hostage thing goes on and the more that these guys haven't been to war in a while, and the fact that they can't fight the Russians, which really has got them in a tizzy. You know, they think, well, we're friends with them. What are we going to do? We've got no enemy, basically. So with what's happening with the hostages and Lebanon just being I don't know. That's one of those things where you kind of go, Lebanon, and then you struck. But I don't want to go to war in my life. I will not. I will not fight. I don't give a shit. I really don't care anymore. At my age, it's like stupid. It's like the dumbest enactment of what human mankind can do. And the greatest anti-war quote that I've ever read came in the Soho News, which is gone because it became now 7 Days, which is published by Village Voice, which is why I like living in Soviet Union. What kind of a thing is that? We've got two papers giving us a real good analysis from either side of the same man's credit card. But one of this is by far the best anti-war quote I've ever heard anywhere, and it's really one of the thoughts I would like to leave you with as we end this year. This is Richard Sherpa. He's from Long Island. And they asked him, which part of the military would you prefer to fight in? And he goes, well, I'm a tuba player, so I'd go in anywhere that I could get to play in a service band so I don't have to fight. He said, are you prepared to kill or die for your country? He goes, no, man, I just want to play the tuba. Thank you, it's been a pleasure. I'm going to bring Rusty up again. It's a joy to work with him because he's really It's close to really, it's the most committed I've ever been in a relationship. That's 6 years. It's a long relationship that Rusty, Rand, and I have had. Actually, Rand is our love child. With the medical supply group, the work that they can now do with 2 types of male sperm and just a small ball of wax, you can create an artistic director. So it's extraordinary, really. These things are coming all the time. Breakthroughs, they're staggering. But no, it's been a joy to work with him. Actually, I knew Rusty, I've known him for years. And there was a time way back, really, when before he became the terrific composer that and the terrific comic that he is, where Rusty was a child. Tonight you're going to get to see him, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to bring him up now. This is little Rusty Magee.
Rusty, just about your age. His mother wanted him to be a musician, and once a week she would take him to Miss Spear, the piano teacher, to study. Every day at home, Rusty would have to sit at the piano and practice the scales. After a while, Rusty grew very tired of playing the same thing over and over again, until one day...
Scales! They're no fun. I could play a real piece, maybe, but just plain old scales. I don't think I like this old piano anyway. Mom isn't home, so I'll just sit in this big old chair. She'll think I've been practicing all the time. Anyway, I'm sleepy. I can have a good rest. This is more like it.
Rusty, wake up.
What? Where am I?
You're in Orchestraville.
Orchestraville? Where's that?
Orchestraville is where all the instruments live. The violins, trumpets, drums, all the musical instruments, even your friend the piano.
The piano is no friend of mine. I don't like the piano.
Oh, I wouldn't say that, Rusty. After all, some of my best friends are pianos.
Who are you anyway?
I'm the conductor of Orchestraville. I rule over all the instruments. Would you like to meet some of them?
There's the trumpet now. Look how bright and shiny he is. I want to play him.
What would you like to play? Play Tommy's favorite, the Carnival of Venice. Getting tired, Rusty?
A little out of breath.
Well, how would you like to rest a while and listen to all of Orchestraville play at once?
All at once?
Yes, Rusty. That's called an orchestra, when a lot of instruments play together. They're tuning up now. Hear them? I'm going to lead them. So let's hurry over. We're going to play the Andante from Haydn's Surprise Symphony. Quiet, everyone. Quiet.
That's it. That's where the people wake up.
Quiet, Rusty. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Rusty. Is there anyone in the orchestra you would like to meet?
Pete is a piano.
I'm afraid he saw you and left already, Rusty.
Why?
He's a little angry with you, Rusty, because you said unpleasant things about him when you were practicing, remember?
But I didn't mean it. I really didn't mean it.
Well, Rusty, I'll see if Peter the piano will meet you. You see, he's so proud. Because he comes from a very old and aristocratic family, descendants of Mr. Harpsichord. You haven't been very polite to him, but I'll tell him you're sorry. Then perhaps he'll want to meet you. Well, Rusty, here's Peter the piano.
I'm sorry I hit you and wouldn't practice.
That's all right, Rusty. I forgive you.
Now can I play you a real piece? Not just those old scales.
Remember, you have to practice scales before you can play the piano well. But since you're in Orchestraville, where anyone can play without practicing, try playing the piano's favorite, the Minute Waltz by Chopin.
I will.
Sound asleep.
What? My mother. What happened to the conductor? And the piano?
The piano was right over there where you left it. Now you get right back to practicing.
Practicing? Oh, yes, Mother. I'll practice. I'll practice hard. I'm going to be a great musician.
Well, you've certainly changed. I don't know what's gotten into that boy. Sometimes I think I'll never understand children.
I'm really going to practice now so that I can play for real. When I practice for a long time, the first piece I'm going to play will be Chopin's Minute Waltz. That one I played in Orchestraville.
Stay tuned next week when Rusty gets into another wacky musical misadventure, and you'll hear him say to his mother,
Mother, I want to take violin lessons.
What? And stop your piano lessons?
Sleep.
Rusty, you tried scrubbing? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you to Louis Black, who taught me everything I know about comedy. Well, this is it. School is out. We've been here for a year. And it's time to reminisce. You know, it was Paul Simon who said, preserve your memories. They're all that's left here. So we look back and we wonder why things turned out the way they did. But we're happy. Yeah. And we look back at all the wonderful events that happened this year, and Louis talks about them, and I like to write about them. And there's that one guy that, well, hell, you know, he's good enough for both of us to make fun of. He's just a heartbeat from the presidency. He's just a heartbeat from the presidency. He's got the heartbeat from the presidency. That's today's Dan Quayle. Dan Quayle is traveling tonight on a plane. I can see Air Force Two taxiing in the rain. Oh, and I can see Dan Quayle wondering why, huh? Lord, I think Dan Quayle is a pretty stupid guy. Oh, Dan Quayle the golfer is better than me, but when it comes to IQs, his is about 23. Dan Quayle, you're the guy that Lou and I love to despise. Daniel Quayle is my name, and I'm one of Indiana's elites. My daddy was a billionaire, and he bought me a congressional seat. Ran on Reagan's coattails 8 years ago and was elected junior senator. You know, I played lots of golf, kept a low profile. I got a call from Georgie Bush, and in a little while we had the night that we drove Dukakis down, and all Republicans were sighing the night that we drove the Democrats down, and all the liberals were crying, they cried. Maybe I'm amazed at just how stupid I can be. Maybe I'm amazed that George Bush picked me. Maybe I'm afraid that I can't do what they want me to do. I was never that good in school, and I can't read a word unless it's written down for me. Maybe I'm a man, maybe I'm a lonely man who's in the middle of something that he doesn't really understand. Hey there, Georgie Bush, do us all a favor, stay alive. If you can't survive, you'll spare us all the terror we dread. Don't die, please. Hey there, Georgie Bush, you are still a wimp, but now you're prez. Let me please suggest a vest that's Uzi or bulletproof. Please wear it. No time for open motorcades. Stay at home with your mom or your wife or whoever that woman with the white hair is. It just takes one Oswald with a bomb to off you. Hey there, Georgie boy, if you die in office, we're all screwed, 'cause you had the great foresight to choose someone so absurd. Give us your word, don't die, Georgie boy. 4 years, Georgie boy, up yours, Georgie boy. He's just a heartbeat from the presidency. He's got the heartbeat from the presidency. That's today's Dan Quayle. I'm so glad that everybody got a chance to come out tonight for this wonderful show. And it's kind of, you know, it's like a Slim Whitman album. It's the best, eh? Silver Eagle Records presents. But what else has happened this year? Gosh, so much. The Challenger tragedy. Just wanted to see if you're all paying attention. I'd like to dedicate this song to some very special friends of mine who I grew up with in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And they're here in the audience tonight. And it's a song of social protest that I dedicate to them. You got a gold card, I got Visa and Optima too. Now you wanna get a Discover. Maybe together we can get all the charge cards. Amex is better. Charge no interest, just pay it every month and you get that free insurance. If you break it, they'll pay right back. You got a gold card, I got a plan to make us lots of cash, been working at an investment scheme. Managed to get us in a lower tax bracket. We gotta make a decision, trying to diversify. Should we go with CDs or triple tax-free municipal bonds? You see, my broker's got a problem. He doesn't think I should file K401, stick with a money market, maybe some hot new mutual funds, but he left all the Hamptons. Can't even reach him on his car phone. Now we gotta make a decision, sell the car or get a car loan. I remember we were driving in a BMW 0 to 60 in 5.9. Let's go back to the Upper East Side, order some sushi and a nice dry red wine. I wish that I could find a good nanny, and I want to watch something on TV. 30-something, 30-something, 30-something. You gotta go, car. Maybe we should go do Club Med. Let's get out of the city, 'cause I think August is really dead. Let's go up to Zay Bars, buy foreign coffee, percolator, and a vaporizer, ionizer, humidifier. So remember we were living life in the fastest lane, hot shot, high tech, money's worth. Still one thing I don't understand is what's so funny about separated at birth. I have a goal to make my life complete. Before I die, I would really, really like to meet Donald Trump, Donald Trump, 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 Donald Trump, Trump. He's got a gold car, and you got a gold car, and I want a platinum car. Thank you. Songs of social protest at the West Bank Cafe. Well, tomorrow night, as I said earlier, the free show will be happening, and we hope that a lot of you can come out for that. But tonight we have each other, you and the night and the music. Yeah. So let's break off into discussion groups and talk about things. For about 10 minutes while I go around the corner and get a pack of smokes. You know, I don't know if Lou was talking about this, because during his entire act I was in the back room putting in my bets for Saratoga tomorrow. But Louis and I both went on the road in Michigan, which is my original home state, this summer. And we did comedy. And I did my particular brand of intellectual piano humor. No comments from the peanut gallery. That's what I call it, man. And I'm going to call you something real soon. So I would hit them with all this stuff, but that wasn't what they wanted. Basically what they wanted, let me get my hat here, they wanted to hear dick jokes. But within the framework of what I had, my music shtick here, that was kind of hard to get them. But I think I finally gave them what they wanted with this next one, which I have to just set up here and make sure is okay. Yeah, I think everything's happening now. You all have heard of this new rap artist, Tone Loc. He's the one who has had a couple of big hits in the last 6 months. Seeing as we're celebrating the end of school, I thought I would pay my tribute to Mr. Tone Loc. Here we go. Let's see if this works here. No? My name is Tone Loc, and I'm a big fat slob. I used to work at Burger King, but then I quit my job. I got pimples on my face. I got acne on my butt. And I'm looking for a girl who will rock the world, yeah, a real slut. All I think about is sex. Think about it all the time. But that's my biz. I got plenty of jizz. And I'm a real slime. I'm looking for a girl who'll let me do my thing. But every chick I try says, Tone, bye-bye, you're such a vile thing. They think that I'm a vile thing. Ugly motherfucker. Whenever I do my rap, I couldn't be obscener. I'm talking about my dick, not an Oscar Mayer wiener. When I was a kid growing up, with my friends, you should have seen us. We'd work and work on a circle jerk with our hands on our penis. But I still can't find a girl, cause 300 pounds I weigh. But I still feel great cause I masturbate 6 or 7 times a day. So I found myself a hooker. I thought I could wine and dine her. But she said, Tone, you keep your bone from a funky old vagina. This is the 80s and I'm going to Hades. Yeah, every dog in Michigan was following me. Spuds McKenzie, Alex from Stroll, Madonna. Wild thing. Let's do it. I do this for 20 minutes. Well, they love that in Michigan. Thank you, people. You know, I know you've seen these routines dozens and dozens of times, but considering the fact that Lawrence Welk ran on national television for 20 years. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and now the wonderful Louis Black playing his skin flute. It had to be Lou. Well, what else happened this year? Oh, God, the best one. Die-o, Ayatollah say die, Ayatollah say die, Ayatollah say die. Rushdie wrote a book, now he must die. Mr. Ayatollah rally all the Muslims. Rushdie wrote a book, now he must die. Mr. Ayatollah give us all instructions. Rushdie wrote a book, now he must die. So what's that to say? He's going to pay. Satanic verses will go away. We gonna burn the galleys and the proof sheets too. We gonna show the fucking writer what we going to do. Salmon going to swim upstream. Everybody. Rushdie wrote a book, now he must die. AK-47 make him scream. Rushdie wrote a book, now he must die. Salman Rushdie. Salman Rushdie. Salman Rushdie wrote a book and pissed off the Ayatollah. When Khomeini say he must die, that kind of publicity you can't buy. Hey, Salman Rushdie wrote a book and pissed off the Ayatollah. Ayatollah say die, Ayatollah say die, Ayatollah say die. Rushdie wrote a book, now he must die. Thank you so much for singing along, man. That was so much fun. And then Cat Stevens, whose name is now, you know, Yusef Islam or whatever, gets into the act. And if there was ever a guy primed to become a religious fanatic, it was the Cat. I'm being followed by a Muslim with an Uzi. Muslim with an Uzi, with an Uzi. And if I should foam at the mouth, pray to Mecca pointing south away, I won't have to write no more. Salman Rushdie, you're a dead man. I'm gonna put a bullet right through your head, man. I've been crying lately, thinking about how Rushdie blasphemed. Why should he go on living? Why should we kill him? But there's 1,000 angry Muslims going to kill him on the death train getting closer. The Look out for the death train. The cat had a few screws loose. I think it all started when, you know, he used to record in a refrigerated studio. Turn up fucking heat before an icicle grows off my nose. But if you go back and you listen to T for the Tiller the actual lyrics, Mary drops her pants by the sand and lets a parson come and take her hand. But the soul nobody knows where the parson goes. What the hell was he doing? I know we've come a long way, we're changing day to day. But tell me, where do the children play? Well, they play in a sandbox, kid. I'm looking for a hard-headed woman, Think you better look for a hard-headed helmet, cat. Thanks, John. Yeah, but the best thing that Cat Stevens did was teach all of the Bee Gees how to sing. You know, now they're back. How can you mend a broken heart? How can I lose a apple when please help me mend my broken heart? It's like the Lighthouse School of Singing. Good morning, Miss Sunrise. You brighten up my day. Lonely day, lonely night. They're getting $3 million for that. What else did they do? Oh gosh. In the event of something happening to me, that is something I could. Rusty was there at 4 a.m. doing the Bee Gees. Everyone had left. The priest was talking with me and his smile. He said, "Come walk with me, come walk on my house." Rusty swallowed his larynx doing the Bee Gees. I so down her there a message to you. Oh man, I didn't know I could milk that for all that time. Wow. Lou was saying, gosh, maybe I'll try Bee Gees. And believe it or not, those guys are performing tonight in a 50,000 seat stadium that 1,500 people came to see. Oh my gosh. Appearing at the Catskills, the Bee Gees. I tell you. But modern music is like that. What's old is new again. And Woodstock is now, you know, Woodstock Estates, condominiums, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom. But times change. But what do you want when you've got to have something that's got to be sweet and you haven't got a lot and it only costs a dime? What do you want? Cracker Jacks. Think about it. Oh man, you know, someone's got their beeper going off. It's okay. But there's other musical heroes that continue to survive. And what do I do with my jacket? About once every 6 months I like to do this routine, but since you people are so special, I thought I'd do a little of it for you. I like to do this in the spring and once again in the fall, at about 2 a.m. at night on a Saturday night. Congressional Congress has made a decree, and the townsfolk and people around us agree that the days end too early, yeah, the nights are too long. Yeah, my digital watch needs arranging, so put your clocks back an hour
here tonight, 'cause the times they are a-changing. You know, it takes an old troubadour with not a lot left to say to write 27 verses about the time change today. Yeah, once upon a time I dressed so fine, now I'm just blowing in the wind. I'm a relic in a time I feel strange in. You could waste that extra hour just listening to me, 'cause the times they are a-changing. Lay, lady, lay, it's 3:45. You've been knock, 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 knocking on heaven's door. But the vandals took the handles, if not for you, then for me. You came early, but it's just a stage we're in. And I wish just one time you could stand inside my shoes. You fall flat on your face 'cause they're size 22s. And I got those subterranean homesick blues. But you know Dylan is not willing to be yesterday's news. He will talk about the issues and he'll air out his views on the time change tonight or on the missiles that cruise. And he will echo our generation till he turns 92. And the times will never be changed. Bob Dylan. Robert Zimmerman. He's tough to make fun of. He's Bob, you know. I mean, Bruce thinks he's God, whereas Bob is God. You know, Springsteen. So. Gather round, disciples, let us break this bread and share this wine, which is the blood of my body. Go out and spread my word till everyone has heard of my daddy's grace and glory. I have no cross to bear, my love is everywhere. I only drove it from New Jersey to tell you to have faith. Oh, did I not say I would rise from the dead and do an 89 world tour? Into your hands I commend my spirit, 'cause Galileans like us, baby, I was born the Son of God. And then my personal favorite. I hate Madonna and her see-through drawers. Now 50 million teenage girls dress up like whores, pose nude for pictures just to pay the rent. Didn't think we'd publish them in Playboy and Penthouse. Go home, Madonna, take your final bow. We can't stand to see you doing speed the plow. Living in a material world, and you need new material, girl. And then there's all those heavy metal groups with their loud noises in their hair. You know, the Bee Gees used to live off of their hair. And now they're not only the president, but former customers. Don't turn on me, people. Don't turn on me. Don't turn on me yet. Oh, boy. Well. Gosh, it's nice and cool out here. It's special out here. And you came. People, you know,
I'm glad we closed tomorrow. Because this is taking too much out of me. Listen, I have to do a tiny little setup here, so let me just try and do it and talk to you. Kind of like Lewis does. He does so well at that kind of schmoozing thing. I've seen him do it at parties. Usually close to the bean dip. Let's go to the internal clock. Let's see if I can record this. I'm actually recording on the stage. Wow. I'm also self-destructing on the stage. But that's neither here nor there. Well, let's see if we can get this to work. Why not? Play that on with it. It's working quite well. So in this summer of remembrance, '69, we had Woodstock, we had the Mets, we had space, we had the first issue of Penthouse. Think about it. I'd like to remember one last thing. Let's say goodbye to a friend that we love. Raise your glasses high and mourn the death of the album, the record album, the 33 and a third long playing album. Can it really be true? Is the album really dying? I'm afraid it's true, folks, you know. It means a lot to me because I was born the same year that the album really started to hit. It was 1955. And everyone was listening to 78 RPMs made out of, I don't know, lacquer or varnish, whatever they were made out of. They were old, they were unwieldy. And we wanted something more. We wanted high tech, but that, in those days we called it high fidelity. Hi-fi, for short. And we got it in the form of a 33 and a third long-playing Diamond Stylus Dynagroove record album. The album, for sure. The album. Hot wax, or who knows what it was made of. All we knew was that it was new and it was now, and we wanted it. 12 inches by 12 inches, 1 square foot of music. You know, when I was a kid in college, when I needed a rug for my dorm room or something, I used to measure the floor with a record album. Yeah, because I knew it was exactly 1 square foot. You know, to our parents, they were a novelty, and to kids these days, they're a non-entity. But to us, they were a necessity. You know, they started out as collections of jazz anthologies, soundtrack albums, and also collections of 45s. But our records matured like we did. And pretty soon your record collection became a statement about who you were. You were what you listened to. You know, it was a great statement about yourself if you had Disraeli Gears by Cream, and a much different statement was made if you had, say, the newest Partridge Family record. But buying a record album became a real ritual for me and many other teenage record-buying connoisseurs. We'd go into the store and try to decide whether to blow your $4.98 hard-earned cents on the new Led Zeppelin II or the new Procol Harum. But once you bought a record and you got it home, then the real ritual would begin. First of all, there was the greatest question of the mid to late 20th century. And that's whether or not to leave the shrink wrap, you know, the plastic that's wrapped around the cover, on your albums. Now, many people would swear that if you leave it on, it warps the record and it's not good for it. But many other people would just take it off because it makes it look cleaner and stuff. I was a taker-offer. How many taker offers were there out there? And lever honors? Wow, we really are in the 90s. Well, you know, because the hardest thing was digging your fingernails into the record album right here, because, you know, an X-Acto knife wouldn't get it, you know, anything would not get it, so you'd end up with bloody fingernails, but you'd finally get it open. But in terms of taking off the shrink wrap, I swear I broke up with 3 different girlfriends during college over this very question. But, you know, eventually, either out of deference to a living companion or out of sheer boredom, the shrink wrap would come off on most of my albums. And then you got it open and the real sensual delight would begin. First of all, there was the, you know, the smell of the record album, better than the smell of gasoline or vanilla or mimeograph paper in 3rd grade. Oh, God. PVC, man. And then the ritual would continue. I don't care whether you owned a $1,500 stereo component Harman Kardon system that your dad only let you use once in a while, or if you had a record player with Felix the Cat on the tone arm. Everyone would follow the same ritual. They'd take it out of the sleeve, blow it off, maybe blow on the needle, and put the record on and play. And while they played, they would greedily devour the back of the record album, much the same way you greedily devoured a bowl of Lucky Charms for breakfast earlier that morning. The record album and cover art. You know, once again, the perfect easel for anything you wanted to put on it, whether it was psychedelia or just clues to whether Paul was dead or not. But listening to records was also a schizophrenic experience because of the way you could do it. You put it on, and it would play itself over and over again if you wanted to. I listened to side 2 of Joni Mitchell's Blue 337 times in a row my sophomore year in college. But you know, there were fold-out albums like this, and there were also double albums, and the true homage to excess, the triple album. But double albums were like Tommy's The Who, or Wheels of Fire by Cream. But the best thing about fold-out albums or double albums was that you could separate the herb from the seed. The funny thing about a fold-out album is you had to take the shrink wrap off of it. And sure, when you listen to a record, there's scratches, there's surface noise, there's wow, there's pop, there's flutter. But every scratch is a scar of love. And the sound of a record scratching is the sound of our generation. We were young, we were mobile. We didn't want to listen to anybody else's song, and if we didn't want to, we'd scratch it and take it off. But now, once again, technology and the greedy record executives have reared their ugly head, and we have format conflict. It started with the cassette, and now it has taken the form of the CD. The CD, the perfect yuppie toy. Small, expensive, and sterile. But, you know, everybody wants them. But on this night, I want us all to remember the album, the record album. Let us cherish our albums like decaying frescoes in Italian museums. You know, last year I celebrated a birthday about 8 months ago. It was my 33 1/3 birthday. And on my 33 1/3, I remembered the 33 1/3. The album, the record album. You know, you go into some malls now and they'll have posters, they'll have tapes, they'll have cassettes, they'll have laser discs. They won't have any albums. No records. So, let us remember the album. Goodbye, old friend. Let's say goodbye to a friend that we love. Raise your glasses high on the death of the album. The record album. The 33 1/3 long play album. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you when I turn 45. And before you go out and blow all your money on CDs, just remember what happened to 8-Track. Thank you very much. Good night, you moonlight ladies. Rock-a-bye, sweet baby Jane. Deep greens and blues are the colors that I choose. Won't you let me go down in my dreams and rock-a-bye, sweet baby Jane. I just wanted to sing that for you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'd like to bring Lewis Black back up on the stage now. Thank you. Louise, thank you. Well, Guy, this is my favorite time when we get up on stage and
can finally talk. Get our personal time up here. This is quality.
But it's scary because, you know, things are changing, and I think this is the last year that we really can get up here and have fun.
Why? What's fucking gonna happen?
I don't know, man. Don't you feel that something's gonna happen?
Mm-hmm. They're gonna replace us. Two big names, you know. Bozo the Clown and Ronald McDonald. We're both slated to do this work next year. Bozo knows piano.
He plays with his feet.
No, why not? They're replacing everybody with stars, so why not get two fuckers to replace us?
That's true. Well, see you in the minors.
Yeah, really. Yeah. Well, we'll dig into the basement. We'll go further.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the downstairs mole hollow. Let me remind you that nuts and berries are half price at the bar.
Go back to Hutch 37. See Rusty Lou and their wheels.
This is a great place to be in case of a nuclear accident.
Fucking A right it is.
We've got enough liquor here to pickle ourselves for...
We can go out totally in leather after about 6 months then. You know where I was? You know what? Woodstock's depressing. You know what's depressing about Woodstock? I was 20 when that happened, and whenever they mention, oh, it's the anniversary, all it reminds me of is the fact that my mother wouldn't let me go.
Oh, come on, Mom, I'm 20! And the funny thing is she won't let him go to the Rolling Stones concert this fall. Come on, Mom, I'm 40.
Unbelievable. You're sorry you can't use the car.
Unbelievable.
Well, even if I was lucky, though, because by the time we would have gotten to New York, I'd have been at a rest stop. Like Newburgh.
Lewis, I know you missed Woodstock, so can I do it for you right now?
Sure, do all, yeah, we can do most of it.
Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. What's Richie Havens doing now, you know? McDonald's.
He's got teeth now, though, which is interesting. I want to meet his dentist. Son of a bitch spent 10 years singing to me, and there was nothing up there.
Lazy little tin lady is in love by mankind. Change my life, make it right, be my lady.
It's the classical version.
Not you, Lou, them! They were, you could hear that they were just settling into a lull. And nothing was... It was like trying to tow a big semi off to the side of the highway. But it was beautiful, Lou. I've never heard you do doo-doo.
You know what Steve Stills was doing? I saw Steve Stills this year while I was on the road in Michigan. He was in Midland, playing like the Fantasy Room or whatever. There's some big... in a mall. He was at a mall. And he was just down the hall from me. And He weighs about 320.
If you're down and confused and don't remember who you're talking to, concentration slips away because your baby's so far away. But there's a road in a distant drum where the eagle flies with the dove. And if you can't get next to the one you love, honey, get next to the one you're with. Get next to the one you're with. Hi, I'm Stephen Stills for Nutrisystem. I lost 300 pounds on the Nutrisystem. If Stephen Stills had written for Sesame Street. Oh boy. Well, they're all, you know, they're all still out there except for Jim.
Janice.
And James. Was she at Woodstock?
Yeah.
Was she?
Yeah. I know everybody was there. I saw the movie on mescaline. It's indelibly printed on the back of my brain. My retina actually still, I can actually tell you all the colors in her day glove outfit. I'm serious. I saw her twice live, and I stood up and watched her as she was just downing booze before she went on stage. And I said, I'm going to go into comedy for the same reason.
You beat me, Lou. God, I was trying to ease it in there, and you just beat me right to the punch. That's great. And, you know, Jefferson Airplane there.
Yeah, we're there.
Was Led Zeppelin there? No.
No, but they wanted to be there.
Were the Who there?
Yes.
They were?
Mm-hmm.
Was Barry Manilow there?
No. Harry was actually preparing for the high holidays. He was going to be working on his Catskill show.
That's why Lou didn't go to Woodstock. He was preparing for Suckles. Or Yucca. It's a new holiday, August 15th. Yucca. It's where we worship the Yucca plant. They took us out of the desert and gave us all Yucca do.
No, it's actually when they bring in the grapes for the Manischewitz. They were there, and Sly was there.
Sly?
Sly and the
Sly
Grapes.
Stallone. Yo,
It's the last concert that Sly showed up on in time for. He was 16 hours late. Dead on time.
We have to live together. There is the Yidba who doesn't like the Catholic to be such a Protestant and trying to help the homeless and different strokes of different folks. I am everyday people.
Right.
He had a message. It was a fakakta message, but it was a message.
Well, he had a clothing designer.
And Mountain was there. Leslie West and Mountain. Remember them?
Yep.
Mississippi Queen, if you know what I mean.
That was the great thing about drugs, because he could sing and you knew everything the fuck was saying. It's the only time where people could really do it. Really. Did some mescaline and everything started to make sense. And so actually on acid, I watched that group Spirit play with that guy, he's the bald guy.
I remember that.
Yeah, a little stupid to watch them on acid because he turns into a bat.
Now, do I understand right that Joni Mitchell wrote the song Woodstock, but she had not been there? Someone described it to her.
Right.
Actually, someone sent her a candygram describing it. Don't fucking turn on me now, people.
No, it's true, she did. She wrote about it because she heard about it.
Well, I came upon the child in the yard.
Yeah, right.
He was walking along the road.
Yeah, right, and he handed her like, take this, babe. It's a little blotter and just...
And I dreamed I saw the bombers riding shotgun in the sky,
Yeah, right.
turning into butterflies over our nation. God, if only Gary Hart could have gotten his hands on that.
Probably got his hands on Joni.
Well, Lou.
Yeah, let's leave on that note. And the last thing we got to offer you is Gary Hart fucking Joni Mitchell. Is that terrifying? Yeah, it beats Channel J. Watching that big fat fuck last night, I was going, what is this about? You and I can't get on TV, and there's that guy lying there with his, like, dong lying off, talking to women. It's like, what is this? I'm doing a Peach Melba festival. I'm covering myself in peaches, and we're going to be eaten off by 100 guys. It's a private party. It's 2:30 in the morning. These people are discussing this, and you and I have no outlet.
Lou, you may have been watching that, but I was watching Adam Smith's Money War. And he was sitting there with his dong hanging out, talking about the surplus and the trade deficit.
Or how to invest in the Peach Melba party.
The Peach Melba party. Is that part of the Rainbow Coalition? Or is that just a flavor at Steve's Ice Cream?
Which are dying. The one in the East Village. There was a Steve's Ice Cream in the East Village. It died. Step forward, progress.
Is that right?
Yep.
What's it being replaced with?
Probably.
Fluorocarbons are us.
Yeah.
Won't you play? It's a Carvel. Won't you please buy Cookie Puff? Hug me the bear. If only people would buy Hug Me the Bear in the East Village, then there would be so much less crime and drugs. And the Cookie Puff. Every Carvel was independently owned and operated. Made from totally toxic substances found under a bridge on Route 78, New Jersey. Would you please go to participating? You know, he had to throw the word participating in. Just had to have it in there. Which takes me back to when I was 9 years old and I got to go to Miami with my dad, and we saw the Jackie Gleason show. And I always had wondered how they did the Sam the bartender thing, you know, where the saloon doors swing open and it's like, oh, I sort of devil, but da-da, and it was like a prop doors that would swing open, then a camera would come right through. And Frank Fontaine, who I learned everything I know about comedy from, would come out and talk about Tootsie Fruity, but then he would sing a song, though. He'd say, put a dime in number 12. And Lou, on that note, I'd like you to sing.
Yeah, right.
Ladies and gentlemen, Louis Black sings Stardust. Sometimes I wonder.
Sometimes I wonder
why I spend the lonely nights dreaming of a friend.
Why I spend the lonely nights dreaming of a friend? This is Stardust? This is what he sang at the beginning?
Well, it's actually in the middle.
I never heard this. I mean, I've heard that fucking. I've heard Pokey do it. What's his name? Willie Nelson. I mean, about halfway through it, I'm like, give me the bottle.
Though I dream in vain, in my heart it will remain my Stardust memory.
Jesus Christ. None of this comes back. It's like I felt like I missed out something in childhood. I mean, play something I know.
What do you know, Lou, besides
the old oeuvre of the Temptations? I know the old oeuvre of the Four Tops. I know the...
Oeuvre?
Otis. Otis, yeah, right.
Lou Black as Otis Redding.
Yeah, as Otis Redding.
You take it, Lou. Okay, can you do them before the plane crash? Ladies and gentlemen, don't boo us because it is the end of the innocence. The time is over, you know. Happily ever after fails. We've been poisoned by those fairy tales. And lawyers clean up small details cause daddy had to lie. I know a place where Lou and I can go where the tall grass waves in the sand.
Boy, hope he lets me in on it.
You can lay your head down on the ground and let those curly black locks fall all around you.
Offer up your best defense, 'cause this is the end, Luke.
Oh boy.
This is the end of the innocent. Luke.
Oh, go.